herbal tea. I've also popped on this under my jewellery for the day. Again, Ana Luisa. My earrings are Ana Luisa. This ring is Ana Luisa. And this snake ring, I think is Regal Rose, and it's from my friend Kaylee. Got all my skincare on and stuff. I'm just going to give I did pluck a couple of my eyebrows this morning. I've been trying to grow them a little bit more at the edges, and I just have to accept that when they're not filled in, it won't be in a straight line. So I'm going to start off by doing a little bit of skin work. I thought I would do... Let me move you closer. I thought I would do a little bit more of a tutorial this morning for you as like the main part of the video, because it is Christmas. It's Christmas? It's New Year's Eve day. I'm going to go in with my concealer first and just show you how I do everything. Believe it or not, I do actually work as a makeup artist as well, even though, you know, my face is not always looking the nicest in my own time. I'm going to start off with a little bit of this Essential High Coverage Concealer by Jouer, which is my favourite concealer. It's really high coverage. You don't need loads and loads of it. But what I love about it is that it's actually quite a hydrating one. So if you have a more mature skin, it works really, really nicely. I'm going to take my Real Techniques brush. You can use fingers as well. I like to pop it on the outside and right on the very inside corner, not doing these massive triangles. Anything that's left over I will obviously take just under the eye here on both sides. But anything else I will kind of just take onto the high points of the cheekbone to kind of lift the face. I'm going to take a little bit more time with my... I mean, this is all quite quick, to be honest. This would take me like 10 or 15 minutes, even with an eye look in my own time. I take whatever's left over, like underneath the brow, like onto the eyelid and stuff, just to get rid of some of those veins. But as you can see, I'm kind of pressing, and then taking what's left kind of up and out, if that makes sense. This is going to keep the inside of the eye really, really bright, cover those dark circles, but also not leave you with loads and loads of product that you don't need everywhere. I could have put less on than that actually. So I'm going to take whatever's left on my brush, just kind of like through the eyebrow and just above my eyebrows as well, because I do get a little bit of redness there. If you have some left over, use what's left on the brush and get those areas that you get a little bit red in. I like to focus all my product like in the centre of the face and then spot conceal where I have anything to cover, because most people need the most help if you are going to choose to conceal and wear makeup and stuff in the centre of the face. That's where we have redness, particularly around the nose. Some people have a little bit of discoloration around the jawline and stuff, particularly if you've got darker skin. That's quite common. Whereas the outside perimeter of my face, with the exception of like this month, is generally fairly clear. More product in the centre, less as you go out, gives a little bit more of a natural finish, and just trying not to put lots and lots everywhere when you don't need it. What I like to do now is go in with my cream foundation. I love the RCMA ones. I've got I think this is Shinto 01. These are really good, you can use them as concealers as well. I just like to go over the cheek area anywhere where I need a little bit of coverage. I like to pop this all over the skin just to give myself a nice base, and then if I need a little bit more coverage I will go in and conceal on top of this. This is a really nice skin-like foundation. It's exactly the kind of thing that you would find if you were working on TV and film, just because it looks a lot more natural on the skin. So I try and put as little as possible and then just go in with more concealer, just like to spot conceal, and this is how you get a really kind of natural skin finish. You can see that's just really nicely evened out my skin, so I'm going to go back in with my concealer on a kind of pointed but fluffy brush, and I'm just going to go in and spot conceal where I need it. If you've got something that's really hard to conceal, what you can also do before you kind of pat it in is you can kind of leave it there for 20-30 seconds or so, and that will just kind of thicken up on the skin. And then you can go over it and pat it out afterwards, and that will just give you a little bit extra coverage out of the product. So as you can see, I'm just popping this where I need it and then blending it out with a finger. Now, you're never going to be able to take away texture because skin has texture. That's perfectly normal. Don't expect it to disappear just because everyone else is using Instagram filters and things. But you can take away some of the colour. Actually, if I wasn't talking you through it, this base kind of just takes me a few minutes. I'm going to pop a little bit of powder on. This is the Revolution Pro Hydra Matte one. I really like this. It's very fine. So I just take a bit like this, and then I will kind of smush it, technical terms here peeps, into the lid. You can see some of it's coming up there. It's so fine, and I just want to pop this where some of that shine is, down the centre of the face mainly, and then take a little bit of whatever's left over and pop this where I've done some concealing, just to kind of help hold that in place. But I don't want to super mattify my skin everywhere. I just concentrate it where I know I'm going to get a little bit oily, and notice that I'm pressing it into the skin, which is going to stop you kind of moving all of the things that you've already done. So I've just done my brows off camera. I like to use a really thin pencil. I've got this MUA one here. The Lottie one is really good. The NYX one is really good. And then I go in with my favourite brow gel, and it is the Clear Brow Gel by Anastasia. I know that the full size is like 20 something pounds or something, and is probably better value, but if you struggle to spend that amount of money on like a piece of makeup, then I would maybe go onto Beauty Bay and get the mini version for £9. It still lasts me like several months. It's really good. They're not super crispy, but I can tell like they're gonna stay all day, and that's how I get this kind of like fluffy brow. I just fill in mainly through the ends, do a couple of little ones at the front, and then brush them all up. I'm then going to take a nice loose fluffy brush, the same one that I use for my powder, and I'm going to take my Hourglass Bronzer. If you have the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer, that's also a really nice one. I'm just using this because it's like my all-time favourite one at the moment. I go through phases. This one's a bit more expensive, but again, I've had this for months and I still haven't hit pan on it, and this is what I'm using every day. And I'm going to take this around the edges of my face. Make sure that you do come across a little bit onto the forehead. And when I get onto the cheeks, I like to kind of pat so that we're not moving that concealer. Again, don't forget to come onto the forehead a little bit. Make sure you're brushing it back into the hairline. Obviously, when you remove your makeup, you want to make sure that you get that properly. And then I take a little bit over the nose, because that's where you would normally catch some colour. And then I do take it a little bit along the jawline. But I make sure that I come up onto the jawline a little bit, just so I don't get like weird lines and stuff. Make sure you kind of get the outer edge of your eyeballs. I like to take my Charlotte Tilbury Glowgasm. This is in Goldgasm, and I put a couple of dots on each side and focus this on the high points. If you look at yourself in a mirror and you kind of tilt your head around, where your face naturally catches the light is where you want to put your highlight. So most of the time it is along here for everyone, but just like I see a lot of people coming down really far. You can also pop a little bit underneath the brow. I see a lot of people just like plonking it where they see other people. Like I don't catch the light super naturally like on the flat top bit of my nose. I catch it just on this tiny little tip bit, so that's where I pop it. So just move your own head around and see where you naturally catch the light, because everyone's face shape is different. Right, this is a super easy but kind of glam eye look that we're going to do today. So I've just grabbed one of my Maybelline paint pots. This is the colour Maybelline paint pots. This is the colour Socialite. It's the colour Tattoo, the 24/7 ones. I think Revolution do their own version, which is better because these are not cruelty free to my knowledge. Just take your finger or whatever eye base that you want and pop this all over the lid. If you had a really nice like gold colour, you could actually just blow this out with a fluffy brush or your finger and then add some liner and be done for the day. You can pop a little bit underneath here if you want to. I don't think I'm really going to be putting much colour onto that, as you can see from the other side. I'm then going to be taking my Viseart. This is the Spritz palette. I'm going to be using this colour and then a little bit of this colour. I'm literally just going to take a fluffy brush and I'm going to plonk that. Yes, I said plonk. All over my lid. What I'm going to do first is press it. I'm one of those people that I cannot, unless I'm doing a smoky eye, like a proper smoky eye, I cannot do my eyeshadow first. I just find it weird. I just can't. So I'm just going to blend this into the crease, and when I get to the outer edge, I'm just going to fluff this across like that, just a little bit. I mean, it's not like a super crazy dark colour or anything, so you're going to get a little bit of a lift out that edge, but you're not going to sort of really notice you've got some crazy thing going on. Do you see what I mean? But this should be really quick. If you're using golds and things that are more of like a natural colour, then you're not going to make like a crazy mistake. Just take whatever's left and like bung that underneath. This is honestly the easiest thing you'll ever do. If you're really bad at liner, take a dark brown shadow, take a really thin, fine pointed one. I think an angle brush is sometimes a little bit easier. I'm going to pop a little bit of that in here. Why is there a hair attached to the end of my spoolie? And then I'm going to place it on the edge of my eye and drag it up and look. And this is also really good if you want to get used to doing liner. If you use a shadow, it's easy to wipe away after if you think you're going to make a mistake. Now I'm just going to take that all the way across. Doesn't have to be super perfect. Then I'm going to go in and just kind of make sure that's roughly the same as the other side. If it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. And what you can then do is you can add a little bit to the other side if you don't quite have it the same. Ta-da! I always think if you're a little bit of a beginner, you can go in with an even lighter brown than this one just to give yourself a little bit of a base and you know you've got them roughly even, and then you can go with something darker, just like you could go in with a shadow like me, and then you could also go in with a like a jet black proper liner afterwards. Just give yourself a guide first so that if you mess up you have room to correct. And it's also really easy if you want to clean up, take a little brush like this or something with like a sharper edge that's a little bit more of a stiff brush, dip it into a little bit of concealer, wipe. The easiest thing ever. And if you haven't got a sharp point, what you can do is you can take a brush like this, really pinch the top, dip it into a tiny bit of water, and then just drag the edge a tiny bit and it will just clean up and give you a sharper, finer point. Makeup artist top tips. And then I'm going to curl my lashes. I've been using the Kevyn Aucoin ones. Easiest thing to do, curl your lashes, is to get really close to the base. You want to give it a couple of squeezes and then open up, move out slightly, and then give a couple of squeezes again. That way when you curl your lashes you don't get this weird like point going on where they've just like crimped in one place. I'm going to use my Perversion waterproof mascara. I'm going to start on the bottom ones because this is my old one. And then I'm going to go in with my brand new Perversion mascara. I do like mascaras when they age a bit, I have to say. If you get something on your eyelid, like I just have, then just ignore it for a couple of minutes. If you start playing around with it when it's still wet, you're going to make an even bigger mess, trust me. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle and drag up. And then what I like to do is I like to space them out a little bit. Make sure you get all those inner corner ones by using the end. Now we can go back in and correct that tiny little mistake we made. Take a stiff brush of some kind, just a small stiff brush, preferably one that's got no colour on it, and just kind of blend it in. And then if you feel like you're missing a little bit of eyeshadow, you can go back in with a little bit of that eyeshadow. Now, to make sure, even though my skin looks like nice and flawless, what I like to do to give it like an even, oh she's got nicer skin look, is where you can see like I've got a couple of natural freckles, I like to put those back in. I've got one here, got one here, ooh, got one here. Just pop in any little beauty marks that you've got. Now we're going to go for blush. I really like these ones and these are super cheap. I really enjoy these MUA Makeup Academy ones. This colour's really nice. It's watermelon, and I fucking love this taupe colour. I just do. I absolutely love it. I like to pop, whoa, way too much. I like to pop a little bit on the back of my hand. And then I take a kind of fluffy brush. You could use a duo fibre or something. An angled one would be a really good one, and I like to kind of press it into the back of my hand just so that you're not going to put on loads and loads of colour in one area. And then pat, 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 and blend back into your bronzer and stuff. That is such a beautiful colour, absolutely beautiful colour. That is my favourite product right now. Gorgeous, gorgeous. Taupe Blushed Liquid Cream Blush by MUA Academy. These are like less than a £5. Perfect, perfect. I'm going to put a little bit of lip balm on. I've been using my Ultra Repair Intensive Lip Balm by First Aid Beauty. It's a little bit more expensive, but it will last you months and months. They are cruelty free. They make a load of really nice skincare products, especially if you have sensitive skin, you have psoriasis, eczema, anything like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go in with my MAC lip pencil in the colour Cork, because that's what I want to use today. I'm not overlining, I'm just going on my actual line. Then what I like to do is I like to take a little bit of clear gloss and I blend it. I don't like to put like colour all over necessarily every time. I just kind of drag some of that colour in with either a shiny balm or a clear lip gloss. This Glossier one is my absolute favourite clear lip gloss. It's absolutely beautiful. And this is a really easy, very quick, unless you're talking people through it, natural but put together glam. And I really like this if you do it with a yellow. You could do it with a nice peachy colour and blow it out. You could actually just do this with a non-shimmery brown. That would look beautiful. A one colour all over the lid blown out is a really, really easy thing to do, and it takes no time at all. And you can see my skin still has texture. You can kind of see just where we put blush over the top that it's kind of picked up a couple of the little marks I have left, but that's not a problem. Hey guys, so it's now a couple of days later. I have just filmed a Lush haul, and I've also been packing some bits and pieces from my room in like storage boxes. So if you can see mess behind me, that's what that is about. I've also got really dodgy tan on my hands because I used an invisible tan. The rest of me looks great, but my hands just went a bit fucked. It's a couple of days since that portion of the video. I wanted to keep it because I thought, as I was editing, I thought, oh, it turned out really nicely and it was really thorough, and I think people will find it helpful. I've listed all the products and stuff down below. I know it's a bit of a weird video because it started as a vlog and then didn't really turn into anything, and I didn't vlog for the rest of the day after that. I just wanted to spend time with like my family, and I don't know, I think I was feeling a bit meh because it was like, you know, coming up to New Year's Eve, and I ended up just having a quiet drink with my parents. They managed to stay up. I honestly thought I would just end up sitting up with mum or just by myself. And yeah, I don't know, like it just didn't feel like Christmas was lovely, but it just didn't feel like a proper Christmas, like without my auntie and my nan and stuff. You know, they both live alone and they're both like on the outskirts of London, and it just makes me a bit sad, you know. I don't know, like I'm just having a moment where like nothing hideous has happened, but it just all feels a bit like ugh. So I wanted to keep that video because I thought it would be helpful and useful and stuff. You can pick up some skin tips and things, like how to cover properly and have it still look like skin. You've seen mine, like it's not horrendous. I've had a couple of blemishes and stuff, and even now, like actually all of this is pretty much cleared up now. But just in case you were struggling or you wanted some hints and tips on how to do that, because I do work as a legit makeup artist also, and I don't really ever talk about that anymore, I don't think. I recently had it was meant to be just like a test shoot on this, a wonderful girl called Freya. She's with Zebedee Management and she has alopecia and she's only 14, and she just had the most beautiful face. And I was really lucky I got to work on her, and we ended up like, the photographer Dan, my friend, he sent it into an editorial magazine and it did end up getting published, which is really cool. I will try and insert a picture here or something so you guys can see. And I miss doing some of the makeup stuff, but it's a lot of, when I've got to move all my furniture and do all that kind of stuff, and also the makeup side of YouTube isn't the same anymore. I feel like you don't get any views, or, you know, people don't see your things anymore, unless you're like a queen of drama, you know, unless you're already big and you're like Raw Beauty Christy or someone like that who isn't drama and she's just wholesome and wonderful. I don't think there are many beauty YouTubers anymore that get credit where credit's due, or, you know, get pushed out. Like I remember people going, oh my god, I haven't seen you on here for ages, because like people are still subscribed but they don't see my content anymore. And I just thought it's a lot of effort to do like a whole setup with ring lights and stuff. And I think also some people just want to see like skin, normal skin in natural light, so that you know what it's going to look like when you leave the house. So it was important to me to keep that and not just chuck the footage away, so I hope it's okay for you guys. other updates, I said I was going to do a quick one about mum. She's had a couple of bad weeks. She was in hospital again for kidney stones. She woke us up in the middle of the night and she was really poorly and she was vomiting and all sorts. We had to take her to hospital and then they sent her home, and then she got worse again, so we had to take her back into hospital, and then they kept her in for 2 days. She's been home for a couple of weeks now, but it's just like this medication she's on is absolutely hideous and it gives her really awful kidney stones. So she's got an appointment for that coming up because there were still kidney stones, even though they lasered a couple of big ones out, and she had to have a stent left in, and then I had to help her remove the stents at home, otherwise she'd have to go back in, and COVID, and they were like, oh, you can do it at home, and it wasn't something you want to do at home. There's just been like a lot going on, and I also have come to the decision that like I really want to work, but until me and Jamie are moved in, I could not live with myself if I went to work and I brought COVID back into my home and mum got sick from it. Because although dad is 58 and he's, you know, a male, and so therefore his chances of complications are probably higher than a lot of other people. He's very fit. He trains 5 or 6 days a week. He still does a lot of cardio. You know, he does weightlifting, and like we're quite a healthy family. So I wouldn't necessarily be so worried about him, but like he is hurtling towards 60 now, so I'm just a little bit more wary. And mum, because she's been ill and she's got other complications and she's on medication, and she lost a lot of weight again as well because she was so ill and she was in the hospital with her kidney stones. So she's quite tiny at the moment, and she's quite frail. She's permanently cold because of her medication again. Like one of the side effects is hypothermia, so like she's permanently freezing, and I am permanently living in a sauna. So yeah, so I made the decision that I don't feel like, especially with the numbers right now, even though I'm not super nervous for the risk to me, that if I brought that home and gave it to mum especially, I couldn't live with myself. So I'm currently not going into work, and so I have more time to do content for YouTube. So if there's anything else, like I'll probably be doing a lot of like plant-based cooking because that's easy for me to do because I have to eat every day anyway. But yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling a bit stressed with it all, to be honest. I'm really like just hoping that the house stuff gets sorted soon, and every time I come on here I talk about it, but it's all I think about because like I need my own space, and also to be able to like start my life with Jamie, and also to be able to, like, more importantly, go to work. Because if it was just me and him, because he works in construction, he'd be going out to work anyway, and so I wouldn't really be concerned. Do you know what I mean? We both said like, oh, if we can work, we'll work, but I just don't feel comfortable bringing that back to this house with mum. So yeah, anyway, this was a really long rambly video, a bit of a weird one. I'm sorry. Please give it a thumbs up for me if you've made it this far, especially because I'm not working at the moment. Like, YouTube doesn't even pay my phone bill every month. I probably make less than 500 quid over the year. You can go and check that on my social blade. I'm like bleeding subscribers, and also, but I do it for the love of it. But especially in times like this, I would actually genuinely appreciate it if you do take the time to give me the thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and, you know, watch the whole thing. If you made it this far, then congratulations. I feel like even though I'm getting like, I don't know what content to put in here. I can't garden. Like, the weather sucks. I can't do the same walk every day. Like, it's hard. Like, winter content is hard, especially when dad's like working from home downstairs. Like, what can I do? But anyway, a weird video today, so that's about that. I hope you're doing well. Leave me a comment down below, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you want to see more rambly weird videos of me. Okay, have a great day. I love you. Bye.